Hi everyone, welcome back to E-commerce Success by At360, the channel that makes you happy, productive and successful. Today we're going to talk about bounce rate. We're going to define what bounce rate is, how important that is, how you measure that, and we're going to review a post on Reddit from a business owner asking if it's bad that they have a 85% bounce rate, and what they can do to mitigate that or improve that metric. Okay, if you like this content, put a like, put a comment below, subscribe to the channel. All these actions are going to help us promote this channel. They're going to signal YouTube that you get value out of these videos. It's only going to take a second for you, but it's going to make a big difference for us. Truly, every time we get a like, a subscription or a comment, it helps us get our video seen by more people and so that we can help more people. So it's very important to us. It's going to make a massive difference and we appreciate your support. This video is brought to you by At360. At360 is the easiest way to increase your sales in Shopify by managing all your ads in one place, helping you implement retargeting all over the web and in mobile apps, in addition to managing Google and Facebook and all these other types of ads in one place. But more on that at the end of the video. Okay, let's jump right into it. So I'm going to review this post and then we're going to discuss what's the bounce rate. We're going to review the website and stay until the end because I'm going to give you a few interesting resources that you can use, whether you're just learning about bounce rate today or if you're already in a well-established business, if you want to try and make sure you have as good a website as possible. I'm going to give you a few tools at the end of the video. Okay, so let's discuss this. So from Danny Hoodless asking for feedback on high bounce rate. So he's saying, hi all, can anyone give me some insight as to why my bounce rate would be 80% plus? So they're giving the website, let's just take a quick look. So in the sense they're selling garage floor tiles. So it's a garage floor tile company. So it's a product which I imagine needs to be quite resistant, durable, and you don't want something that can break easily with all these cars on your garage. And it's actually very pretty. They have nice reviews from businesses, very active Instagram. So it looks really neat. I'm actually a big fan, although I don't own a garage, so I'm not in the target group. But it looks like a really fun business and a successful business. So congrats on building that. Okay, let's get back to the post on Reddit. So they're averaging sales of 100k pounds per month. So in dollars, that would be about maybe 130k, something like that. So it's super good. For some reason, the bounce rate is at 85%, has been since May. Okay, so it's been a number of months now. So they've said they have the good reflex. So if you have something like that you think is problematic, trying to pinpoint where this is coming from is a good reflex. So they've tried to look into devices. So is this the same bounce rate on mobile, tablet, desktop, or other types of devices? Looking at metrics country to country, individual pages, traffic channels, page speed, and even into time of day. But the bounce rate is this high across the board for all pages and content. So this tells us it's not like a specific problem about one device or one type of pages or stuff like that. By the way, they're not mentioning this, but I assume they're using Google Analytics to get these numbers. I'm not going to discuss how Google Analytics works today. So if you want me to do another video about analytics, if you want to see more advanced tips on how analytics work or a basic tutorial to setting up analytics, please put that in the comment below. Okay, so today we'll assume you know what Google Analytics is. And so they're saying, okay, so it's across the board. They have very high bounce rate. They're saying there's even an 82% bounce rate on the last step of the checkout page. Okay, how can that be a single page view? And we'll come back to this. We'll explain a bit why they're stating that. If you still don't know what bounce rate is, don't worry. I'm going to define that in a moment. I'm just finishing the post. Okay, so they can't quite figure out why it would be so high. does refusing cookie consent or did the iOS update affect bounce rate numbers? That's a good question. Okay. So the first thing we can say is that there's nothing obviously wrong with the website. I mean, it's a nice website, so there's a ton of content, and it's I think there's not a lot of breathing room. Like everything is on top of each other. I personally, just my 2 cents, I'm a big fan of maybe putting more space on the website, but it does look very nice. It looks professional. It looks serious. It looks nice too with the bright colors, which work well with your theme and the product itself, right? So I think it's really well designed, well structured, well organized. And the images are beautiful. Like these images are very nice. We easily understand what the product is. And the elements are well integrated. So really congrats. Like this is I think a very good example of well organized websites. Even though it's a very specific topic, right? I don't think everybody's seeing garage floor tiles selling companies every day. So that's quite amazing. And yesterday I made a video for a beginner in e-commerce trying to structure their website and talking about the main guidelines and best practices. And so this website is quite original in the way it's organized, but it works super well with the product, the color scheme and everything. So congrats on that. And I do like how you've structured everything. So first you explain a bit what you do and you have nice call to actions everywhere. Then you see the product right away, so it's easy to understand what it actually is. And then you have other features. So that's super cool of the product. You have some services you offer. And you see, so if the store owner from yesterday is watching, you see here how you have like a colored rectangle to break a bit the white space and give an important information in a different manner. So here about the installation service. Then the testimonials are well integrated. Sometimes you just have a bunch of testimonials at the bottom of the page just before the footer, and they're not very nice. They're poorly organized, and you have like 20 of them. Doesn't look very genuine. I like how you selected key customer stories, and I like that you call them customer stories. I like how you present that there is a date, we can see someone, there is a name. Tom's. I think it's super important and it's super powerful to use the name, like Tom's Motorbike Home Workshop, Jim's Motorbike Home Workshop, and it gives a different feel about them, right? And and they're super well integrated anyway. The Instagram well integrated as well. And the blog post if you want to dig deeper on the website content. So I'm taking a bit of time to review for 3 reasons. The first one is just I enjoy looking at your website. It's really well done. The second reason is that it can help other people watching this video, especially some of the stores I reviewed this week and last week, including some beginners. If you want to see original but very cleanly and well organized websites, this is a great example. The third reason and most important one is I'm spending a bit of time to review all this content because I think it's part of the reason why the bounce rate is so high, and so I'll come back to this. So remember this thought for a second, and I'll come back to that. So now, what's the problem? The problem is the owner thinks or the store manager or marketer, we don't really know who that person is, but so the person that presents this website, they're saying the bounce rate is very high, and they're saying below it's not really a sales problem because they're doing well, right? So they have a nice amount of sales. So we don't know how big it is, how many employees, but they seem pretty pleased in some comment about their sales. And they're saying somewhere that the real problem is that it rose quite suddenly and substantially without any apparent reason. So it used to be 56%. And then went up to 80% plus, and since that time it's been very high. So it used to be a lot better, then it got worse, and they're kind of puzzled because they don't really know why that's happening. But then they're saying it didn't lead to lower revenue, which is great, and they're saying they're making better and better months or quarters. So that's really good, and congrats on building such a successful business. That's really good. I'm happy to hear that. So Now, if some of you are wondering, okay, but what's the bounce rate? Let's look at that. So I've taken the definition from Google themselves. So this is the analytics support website on support.google.com. So let's read a bit about bounce rate for those of you that don't know what this is. So a bounce is a single page session on your site. Okay, so if someone comes to the website, they look at the page and they leave, it's a bounce. So even if, regardless of how much time they spend, right? Bounce could be they come and they immediately leave, and usually that's a problem if you have too many of those. Okay, but it could be someone that spends 15 minutes on the website and then leaves. That would count as a bounce as well. Okay. So we're not going to read everything, but then, and the bounce rate is the rate of single page sessions divided by all sessions. So if you have 100 sessions, so a session is someone coming to your website and potentially looking at multiple pages, so that would be one session, okay? So if I go on the website, I click on a page, so that's my first page view, then this is my second page view, then I go to the product, that's my third page view, then I come back to the home page, that's my fourth page view, but all of these make up one session, okay? So it's a 4 pages session. In that case, if I leave the website now, even if I did all these page views in like 30 seconds, that wouldn't count as a bounce, right? Because I've seen multiple pages. So I wouldn't count as a bounce. So if you have 100 sessions and 80 of these sessions are just a single page visit, then you have an 80% bounce rate, which is approximately what this website owner has. So 80%. Now, is a high bounce rate a bad thing? That's the first question Google asks on their own documentation. And you're going to love the answer. It depends. So Google themselves say it depends. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. So if the success of your site depends on user viewing more than one page, then yes, a high bounce rate is bad. If your homepage is the gateway to the rest of the site, and you need to, it's just like a very short homepage without a lot of content, and you need to understand what really the business is about, what it's selling, you need to visit multiple pages before you get a clear idea of whether it's for you or not, whether you want to buy or not, then yeah, it can be a problem. On the other hand, if you have a single page site like a blog or other types of content with high single page sessions are expected, then high bounce rate is perfectly normal. Okay. Now, coming back to the thought I asked you to put aside in your memory, I said there's a ton of content in this website, which is a great thing. Usually, and very frequently, I see new e-commerce websites where they just have the homepage, a title, like a gallery of like 10 products, and that's it, and the footer. And that's really bad. I love how you have a lot of content on the website. I talked about that about multiple videos before. I put some links in the description. I talked about that in the how to generate trust in your business video. And I talked about that when I discussed search engine optimization, and more specifically the video where I discuss how to generate more content on your website by using descriptions and more text, and really saying, using words, what your business is about, what your product is about, what are benefits of your product, what are features. And so all this website is doing all of that. They have a lot of content, they have rich content, they have both visual and textual content. So they're doing a lot of things right. And in that case, it's not a problem, it's great. And what I think, it's just my 2 cents, I think that a lot of people come to this website, spend a lot of time on the homepage, and they know if the product is for them or not, right? Like, not everybody's got a garage in their home, but so that could explain the high bounce rate. It's a very targeted audience, very niche product. So I'm not surprised. I've seen many successful websites with 80%, 90% bounce rate. If it's a very niche product and you have a very rich page like that, it's not a problem. I would be more worried if the average session duration suddenly dropped a lot. If people used to spend like 4 minutes on average in your website and now they spend just 30 seconds, that would be a lot more troublesome and worrying, in my opinion, than the bounce rate increasing. It could mean you have a more targeted audience coming to your website, or less targeted, or it could mean a lot of things. You have a more targeted audience in the sense that the people that come to your website already know in a glance that they need that, and so they understand right away what your product is. They don't need to read a bunch of blog articles. They know it's what they need, and they call you right away. It could be you have a lot of options to contact you. You have the contact. You have the I think you have a phone number somewhere, or do you? Maybe I imagined that. I thought you had something. Anyway, but I think a lot of people might then search you on Google and find where you are, maybe come and visit in person. Oh yeah, I'm blind. The phone number is there. So maybe they call you right away, especially, I guess, it looks like a very, I don't know, it gives this vibe of like a, nice team with nice people, this local kind of business where it's okay to give a call, have a chat, meet the people before buying the product, especially since it seems quite like a high purchase. Like you seem to have a high average order value. So I wouldn't be surprised people contact you, maybe send an email, maybe call, maybe stop by to have a look at the product. So the very specialized targeted audience, they don't necessarily need to look at many pages to know it's for them. If you have a broader audience coming to your website because people notice you on Instagram and stuff, they see the nice photos about the garage, the nice motorbikes or cars. Maybe they come to your website, then they understand you're selling the flow and they don't need that, so they just leave, right? They're not looking at multiple pages. So that wouldn't be a problem as well. They're just not customers. And it could also just be that, the bounce rate calculation changes, right? So I think someone mentioned they linked an article from Neil Patel, who is a renowned expert in all things, online analytics, websites, marketing, SEO. And he's saying like bounce rate is not something super accurate. Google frequently changes the method of calculation, of measuring the data. People that love to open new tabs like me, I'm a tab freak. I often right click or middle click with the middle button on the mouse that automatically opens a new tab. And Neil Patel in his article mentioned sometimes these are not counted as multiple pages in the same session, or so sometimes you have some bugs. If people ask not to be tracked because you have the cookie, which I accepted, some people mentioned remove the cookie policy, cookie consent. You can't do that in Europe, and that includes the UK. It's mandatory to have this cookie banner at the bottom of your website asking whether or not you consent. And to answer your question, I don't really know, to be honest, how exactly the latest iOS update affected bounce rate precisely, but it's very much possible that the refusing the cookie consent or asking Apple, if you're on mobile web, not to track you, it could very well mean you're not tracking the users the same way you used to. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying maybe some information is lost in the way by Google. They're not measuring the same way. So especially if it went like that suddenly around May last year, I don't remember when iOS 14 came out. It could be around that time. That could be one of the reasons, actually, So if you haven't seen any visible changes on your website in terms of revenue, number of conversions, conversion rates, the most important metric for you is conversion rate, average order value. And then I would say if you want a more, upper funnel metric, if you don't know what an upper funnel metric is, comment below. That could be the subject of another video. But if you want to look at another upper funnel metric, it could be something like session time. Because even if it's a single page visit, like on the homepage, if someone is interested, they will spend quite some time looking at all the pictures, like I did. Even if I'm not a target customer, I did spend quite some time looking at everything on your website. So I think that's going to be more telling than the bounce rate. You mentioned that's a metric that gets popped up and discussed in boardrooms and with it. I would just not worry about it. Focus on conversion rate, focus on customer acquisition cost, focus on average order value, focus on maybe session duration. and that's it, right? I don't think you need to worry too much about your bounce rate. Now let me still give you a couple of tips of things that could be improved, and maybe that's going to help the bounce rate. But one thing I've noticed, I looked at your website, is the mobile score is not that great on the page speed insights. So that's a tool I will put in the description below. You can test your website speed, which is becoming an increasingly important factor nowadays for Google to rank a website and to suggest it as a response to people making searches on Google. And usually, mobile, it's notoriously more difficult to get a good score than desktop. But I guess you could still do better, right? You should at least aim for the orange bracket, which is between 50 and 89. And with a lot of effort on SEO, you could definitely get to 90 plus. It's difficult, but it's doable. It's more difficult, at least on desktop. That's what I wanted to say. It's more difficult than on desktop, but it's doable. And this is going to have a lot of benefits. It's going potentially to reduce bounce rate because some people may leave the website because it's loading too slowly. So that's why I said earlier, if people are leaving immediately and if the session duration is lower, that's a bigger problem in my opinion than just a high bounce rate. So you have to differentiate a bounce, which is like a 15 minutes long session where the person reads everything, and a bounce because the website doesn't look okay, doesn't load right, is not well formatted for mobile or stuff like that. Now, the good thing about this tool is Google tells you exactly how to fix this problem. So they give you a bunch of stuff to improve, and they rank it by order of importance. So they say, you see this one, you could save 10 seconds on the loading page, which is huge, by properly sizing image. And they tell you exactly which images are problematic. So if you click on this link, I think this is your product image you see. So this product image, it's very high quality. It's super big in terms of size. It's 1500 pixels. And it's okay to have a high quality image like this for the product page. Let me come back to this afterwards. Where's I think I had opened it, but okay, let me reopen. If I'm on the product page, where is this? Okay, it's this one. If I'm on the product page, it's okay, and it's even good to have a high quality and big image because you want a high resolution. You have this zoom feature, which is really nice. So you want a very high quality image. Now, and even there, I think it might be, I don't think you need that big of an image. Like this one is really, really big and it's very high quality. What's for sure is even if it's justified for the product page, is it can be much lower for the homepage. Look here, you need like 225 pixels at most, right? And you see the zoom feature. I don't know that you want like that big of a zoom on the pictures, but even with the zoom, I don't think you need to have that big of an image. So even without compressing the picture and without degrading the quality, you can just reduce the size of the image that's loaded on the home page. And that's true for all these product images and maybe some of these other images. You have the list. Sorry, it's not here, it's here. You have the list of painful images to load for Google, and you have a bunch of them. If you do that, and that's quite easy to do, just resizing the pictures for the homepage, you're going to already see a massive difference in your load speed, which could reduce bounce rate, increase the number of people who actually look at your content, increase ranking, because nowadays speed is more and more important for Google in when and where they rank their websites. So, to be number one on Google, you don't only need to be on point and have rich content and a good quality website. You need a fast page load speed. It's super important. Okay, and then you have a few things like defer off-screen images, lazy loading. So I won't get into the details, but you have a lot of information on this tool. It's very well made. You have some unused JavaScript which you could remove. So these are libraries to animate your website or use some effects which you're not using. So you're loading this script, which takes time and bandwidth to load, and you're not actually using them. So that's something you could look into. And I also noticed looking at your website. So if you want some tips, I opened this page so I was on your website. If you right click in Google Chrome, the browser, or Firefox, or some other browsers, you right click anywhere on the page and you click inspect, and you're going to see some advanced tools. So don't worry if you don't or not like a technical person. Don't need to go through the details, but I just wanted to show you that you have some errors here. If you click on the little, the red cross here, you have some errors. So these are also linked to JavaScript libraries. So you may have some libraries which are not used, but in addition, they're they're slowing down the website. So that's something you can fix. Okay, I think if you fix these things, you're going to massively improve your score, and it's going to help, potentially help with your problem. I wanted to show you another thing, which is that with this tool, if you inspect, you can also see what it's like to load your website on a poor connection. So if you click network here, if I put like slow 3G and I refresh, you're going to see how your website loads on like a phone which has a bad connection. And you're going to see, okay, you see the images are quite long to load. There's a bunch of white stuff. It's going to take a while to actually load properly. The good thing is you still have text, right? So you have the logo, maybe it's also too high quality. It takes really long time to load. So I still don't see the product. So you may have some people that leave at this stage, okay? So that's something that could be improved by making some of these optimizations advised by Google here. So again, I will put the link of this tool in the description. Another thing I wanted to end on a positive note, so even though the speed is not great, the page is mobile friendly. So that's at least a good thing. Many websites still nowadays are not mobile friendly. You have to be now, the latest study I read says that 2/3 of the online traffic on e-commerce websites is coming from mobile devices. So if 2/3 of your traffic is seeing a broken version of your website, that's not good, and that's not the case. So I will put also this tool. So it's a tool by Google. Search Google mobile friendly test, and your page is mobile friendly. So they're looking, make sure there's no, like text which is unreadable, image which is put weirdly, that there's no problem, and there is none. So congrats on that. So even if the speed is not great, at least your website is responsive, is mobile friendly, can be looked at from a mobile. It just takes some time to load, especially if the connection is slow, okay? But as I said earlier, you have a great business, fantastic. I love the website. You seem to be doing very well and you seem to be growing, so congrats on that. And as I said, the bounce rate may not be, in your case, the most important metric to look at, so I wouldn't worry too much. Now, if you want to get into retargeting ads, that could be interesting. All these people that go on your website and maybe they don't purchase right away, especially since it's a high purchase, it's quite a high amount of money. Maybe they need to look at your website a few times before making a decision. A good way to bring back people who leave your website without making a long session, or people who abandon carts, and in online e-commerce websites, the average abandoned cart is 75%, and in some industries it's up to 80 to 90%. So furniture, I know, is almost 90%. So for you, about your specific garage flooring, I don't know what's the number, but since it's a higher value order, it could well be that the average abandon rate is above 80%, which is a lot. And so retargeting is one of the best ways to bring back these people to the website. If you don't know what retargeting is, I made a ton of videos on that topic. I will link some of them below and some blog articles. So retargeting is a specific type of ads which you only show to people that have been on your website before, but who haven't purchased yet. So you can show specific ads to people who abandoned carts, and you show them this product again. And studies have shown that on average, people who don't know your brand, they discover you for the first time, they need to see you between 7 and 12 times before they actually make a purchase. So they need to go to a website, they leave, they see an ad, they come back, maybe they take some time to think, they put something on the cart, they leave the cart, and then after a few retargeting ads, then they come back and complete the purchase. And some studies show that you could get back up to 25% of your abandoned carts with retargeting, which is huge. So retargeting is by far, by a ton, the most efficient form of advertising. A study I analyzed the other day said it's above 1000% return on investment, return on ad spend. So that's huge. It's by far the most efficient form of ads because you're not showing ads to anybody and to cold traffic. You're showing ads to people who already went on your website but haven't purchased yet. And these people are the most likely to convert and with a minimal amount of money because you know who you're showing ads to. If you want to learn more about that, that's our specialty at Ad360. That's what we do. We help people implement retargeting in the simplest way possible on Shopify. With a few clicks of a button, a few minutes, you can set up retargeting and start showing ads all over the web, on mobile apps, to all the users that go to your website. And we have a ton of other cool features. You can do geo-targeted ads around certain areas. So in your case, maybe you could target like big garage and run targeted ads around them. You can draw actually on the map a specific area where you want to show ads. So that could be quite interesting for you. We call that hyper-local advertising. So if you want to see that, there is a link in the description to get a free demo and a free consultation call. At the moment, since we released recently this app on Shopify, we're doing a ton of service to help customers. So we're offering you a free audit of your website and your marketing strategy and all your advertising accounts. And we're giving you free consulting, free advice on how to improve your numbers. Our goal is to make you successful, so you grow your business. And then when you're ready to try some more advanced advertising techniques, or if you want to implement retargeting, hyperlocal ads, if you want to get automative creatives built for you that can run anywhere on the web and mobile apps, in addition to Google and Facebook, and you want to manage all of that from one place in Shopify, that's where Ad360 kicks in. So I look forward to hearing from you or anybody who's watching this video. Always a pleasure to help businesses be happy and succeed. Thank you for coming to this channel. If you like this video, if you don't want to miss any of the others, please subscribe to the channel, activate the little notification bell so that you get an alert every time I release a new video. Thank you and see you soon. Bye.